morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our weekly press conference. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so today we will provide an update on the crisis car, which was reinstated 2 years ago thanks to the ARP funding. Post-COVID, the Erie Police Department was witnessing increased homelessness, mental and behavioral health issues, substance abuse disorders, crisis situations, violent crime, and domestic disturbances. This was evidenced by a dramatic increase in assist other agency calls, which went from 2,353 back in 2018 to 3,099 in 2023. There was also an increase in the overall calls for service that we received. The Erie Police Department responded to 59,399 calls for service in 2023. That's up from about 45,000 calls back in 2020. The last time the Erie Police Department had the crisis car was in early 20s, when it was discontinued due to budgetary constraints at that time. In 2021-2022, after obtaining feedback from community, neighborhood groups, service providers, mental and behavioral health experts, the District Attorney's Office, the Erie Public Schools, the County Criminal Justice Advisory Board, and the Merski Civic Institute, we had input from a lot of people, we allocated $12 million in ARP funding to reinstate the crisis car and the juvenile unit, and to add 4 officers to the Neighborhood Action Team, that's NAT for short. It's for a total, we now have 18 additional officers from when I first started. The crisis car is composed of 9 officers who have completed specialized training in de-escalation strategies and how to handle mental and behavioral health crisis, substance abuse disorders, domestic violence, and suicidal individuals. Prior to being assigned to this unit, all officers had a minimum of 2 years' experience with the Erie Police Department. Once selected, they received 40 hours of training from numerous local service providers to ensure that they can handle difficult situations when people need help the most. They also visited and toured several agencies to familiarize themselves with local resources. Partners in this work included the UPMC, Western Behavioral Health at Safe Harbor, the Crisis Services Group, the Mental Health Association, the Erie County Office of Children and Youth, the LECOM Health and Mill Creek Community Hospital, AHN, and St. Vincent's Hospital as well. The officers also took part in virtual reality training at Mercyhurst University's Municipal Police Training Academy. The virtual reality program focused on the team's crisis response and de-escalation training. The team will receive continuous education and training to stay current. In addition to an update on the crisis car, we also have an exciting announcement regarding the Erie Police Department's crisis negotiation team, formerly known as the Hostage Negotiation Team. This team of officers is called on when there is a threat of harm to a person or people by anyone who may, for example, be holding them against their will. The person could be a barricaded criminal who is suicidal and who may have a hostage. Unfortunately, incidents such as these are rare, but we must be prepared for them and have the best equipment available so we can use our skills to try to resolve them in a very peaceful manner. To support this team in its work, Representatives Bob Merski and Pat Harkins helped the city obtain a state grant of $127,500 to obtain a crisis. We really appreciate that help. That's for a crisis communication vehicle. The old vehicle was 30 years old. It was a former ambulance, and it had over 240,000 miles on it. Due to its age and condition, the vehicle was often outdated, unreliable, and was often out of service for repairs. Sergeant Tom Cavato will explain more about this shortly. But first, I'll introduce Lieutenant Jamie Russo. At the direction of Chief Spizzarni, Lieutenant Russo was tasked with reinstating and supervising the crisis car. He was the perfect officer to take this on. Lieutenant Russo worked for Abraxas from 1992 to 1995 as a juvenile drug and alcohol counselor. For 8 years, he served as case management support services as an intensive case manager on the Erie Warren Project. This program was designed to integrate mentally ill individuals back into the community from Warren State Hospital's mental health ward. In that role, he wrapped services around each client to ensure their successful re-entry into our community. Russo has been with the Erie Police Department now since 2002 and serves as Lieutenant of Special Operations and Coordinator for the Community Outreach Program, or COP for short. Lieutenant Russo understands and appreciates the complexities of crisis situations and has brought his years of expertise into this role. To tell us more about the crisis car and bring us up to date, I'm very proud to introduce you to you, Lieutenant Jamie Russo. Lieutenant Russo?
Thank you, Mayor, for the kind words. Good morning, everybody. As you know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I'd like to talk about something that touches every one of us, whether directly or indirectly: mental health. Mental health is just as important as physical health, yet for far too long it has been shrouded in stigma and silence. People hesitate to talk about their struggles out of fear of being judged, misunderstood, or dismissed. But the truth is, mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, and PTSD are real, common, and treatable. 1 in 5 people will experience a mental health challenge in their lifetime. That means someone you know, someone you love, maybe even you, is struggling right now, and they need to know that it's okay to ask for help. Awareness is the first step toward change. When we speak openly, listen without judgment, and support each other, we break down the walls that keep people suffering in silence. Let's create a world where seeking help is seen as a strength, not a weakness. And just remember, mental health is a health, so let's treat it that way. I think within this department, thank you to Mayor Schember and Chief Spizzarni, we've really taken an active role in increasing our jobs as the Erie Police Department to address this in our own community, to serve our community members better. Since it's Mental Health Awareness Month, I'd like to take the opportunity to share with you all what programs the Erie Police Department has for not only the public, but for our own men and women in blue. First, we'd like to present the Mental Health Crisis Unit. This unit launched on May 1st, 2023, and we couldn't be prouder of how it's progressing and evolving. Here to discuss this is the unit, for the unit is Sergeant Bellotti. Sergeant Bellotti?
Thank you, Lieutenant Russo. Good morning. The Crisis Car, or Crisis Intervention Unit, is a specialized unit of the Patrol Division that responds to calls with people who are experiencing mental health and family crisis issues. The unit was reinstated by Chief Spizzarni on May 1st of 2023. There are 9 officers in the unit, including myself. The unit is staffed for all 3 shifts, so there's 24-hour coverage. As the Mayor mentioned, officers have received specialized training to include de-escalation and negotiation techniques, as well as suicide prevention. Several of those trainings have been through Safe Harbor. The unit works closely with several local agencies, including the Erie County Office of Children and Youth, the Mental Health Association, and especially Crisis Services, with whom we have a co-responder program. Stacy Bittner will talk more about that in a minute. Many of the calls the unit responds to include welfare checks, outreaches with crisis services, both voluntary and involuntary mental health commitments to local hospitals, domestic disputes and assaults, as well as protection from abuse or PFA violations. Calls involving people who are experiencing a mental health crisis usually take more time. This is due to officers trying to de-escalate and negotiate with the individual who may not be cooperative because of the mental state they're in. Officers take the time to talk to them and fully explain everything to avoid having to physically restrain someone. This is always the last resort. Officers also take the time to talk to family members of the person experiencing a crisis, helping them to understand what is taking place, how we can help, and what they can do to continue to support their loved one. Dedicating a unit to these types of calls leaves other patrol units available to respond to high priority calls. In closing, I would just like to say that I've worked closely with all the officers in the unit over the last 2 years. They all do an amazing job, and they truly care about the well-being of the residents of Erie. They're patient, caring, and go above and beyond to help in any way they can. They're the reason this unit works so well, and I'm honored to work with each and every one of them. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to turn it back to Lieutenant Russo.
We've been tracking the data for this unit for partly because of the grant in itself, but because we want to know what's going on and get a better snapshot of the type of services that we are providing our community. So to give you a little idea of what we did in 2024, the crisis unit responded to 3,468 calls for service. These included 467 mental health outreaches, 518 welfare checks, 146 201s or voluntary commitments, 425 302s, involuntary commitments, 663 verbal domestics, 43 physical domestics, and 1,604 non-crisis calls. So these guys are busy out there. And it's nice to have them out there because at the end of the day, these are our leaders within the department who are trained to deal with these types of calls at a higher level and understand the needs of the citizens in this community. What we learned and what I learned throughout my experience in the mental health profession, it's about relationships. It's about continuity of care. It's about communication. So a lot of times these officers that you see above and then the co-responder program, when they go out on the scene, they've already have experience dealing with these individuals. They may know if they're decompensating. They may know they may understand the bigger picture of what's going on in their day because they have familiarization with their baseline. So it's kind of cool in the way that where they will go out there, a lot of times that solves a problem probably than just a regular officer who has no experience with this individual. So we're starting to see that as this program progresses, and we're starting to see helping the community a little bit better by knowledge of that individual on a daily basis. During our first year of re-implementing the crisis call, we were looking to see what we could do to improve on the services the Erie Department has to offer our community. This is when we applied for a grant for our co-responder program. Thanks to the DOJ grant, we have 2 mental health professionals through crisis services who work directly with the Erie Police Department. Here to discuss this amazing program is Program Director of Crisis Services, Stacy Bittner. Stacy?
Thank you. I'm honored to be here during Mental Health Awareness Month and to share some of the successes we've experienced with our co-responder program with Erie Police Department over the past year. So I'd first like to highlight some of the growth that we've seen in crisis response across our country. So in July of 2022, that marked the go live of 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. So while the national hotline had been in existence for some time, there was an identified need for an easily recognizable number for individuals to contact when experiencing a behavioral health crisis. This effort was to divert individuals from calling 911, especially in situations where law enforcement response is not needed or not necessary. However, the reality is, and our local crisis team could really vouch for this, is that there are a variety of circumstances in which it's necessary for law enforcement to respond to crisis situations, such as if there's a presence of a weapon, among many others. So crisis clinicians demonstrate great de-escalation skills, but they're not equipped for the public safety training that officers receive. So this is really where a co-responder program, such as what we have here, is beneficial. Individuals in crisis receive the behavioral health expertise and support while also ensuring the safety of all those involved, thanks to the police response. The co-responder program with the Erie Police Department began April 22nd of last year. And so since this time, our co-responders, co-responding crisis clinicians, have responded to 442 calls with Erie Police Department. The program was developed to really offer the city of Erie expedited mobile co-response. So as we mentioned, we have 2 crisis clinicians, and their role is to respond to calls with Erie Police Department exclusively, primarily responding with the crisis car unit that Sergeant Bellotti had discussed. Our program really offers specialized response to individuals in crisis with an emphasis on restrictive referrals, least restrictive referrals. And so this really helps to divert people from going to the hospital for an evaluation and treatment when there are less restrictive levels of care that could be more appropriate to address their needs. Diversion from incarceration is also another principle of co-response, and so our mission is really to help prevent individuals from entering into the criminal justice system when in fact they would be most beneficial to them is to receive some behavioral health treatment. So we've seen a positive impact over the first year of implementing, including improved response time to calls involving individuals with behavioral health concern. In addition to the expedited response, really what we're seeing is the relationship that's being built between the co-responders and law enforcement. And that really helps them to just respond better, working together and more collaboratively. We've also seen this through streamlining processes to ensure that we're able to be most efficient in our response and our outreaches, which really helps to improve access as well. We've also seen improved engagement with individuals in crisis, and so in hearing Sergeant Bellotti talk about this too, I am just impressed that we definitely came through this with the same impression. You know, that the efforts that are being taken by these officers are really demonstrating patience, compassion, and just going over above and beyond to really ensure the safety of individuals that they're interacting with. So Safe Harbor has remained committed to providing behavioral health training to law enforcement. In addition to the specialized training we've provided to the crisis car unit officers, we've also been collaborating with Mercyhurst University's Police Academy and providing training to cadets, have worked with other local law enforcement jurisdictions to provide new officer training, and have collaborated with Erie Police Department with their crisis negotiation and critical incident stress management team, which Sergeant Cavato will also speak to. Over this next year, so we're excited about what's to come, our team is focusing on our efforts to increase follow-up support to individuals who've been seen through our co-response program. We have created and will begin distributing drop bags, which will really contain helpful information on community resources specific to the needs of the individual in crisis, as well as offering some harm reduction materials such as naloxone, Deterra, and test strips. So in closing, I'm proud of the accomplishments our co-response program with Erie Police Department has made over the past year and look forward to our continued collaboration to meet the needs in our community. So now I'll turn it back over to Lieutenant Russo.
I'd be remiss not to thank Stacy and her team. They have done an outstanding job helping our officers get prepared. They're the professionals. They're the mental health professionals. We're professional police officers, but they're the ones who helped educate and go through the 4-hour course and help really set it up and really lead the way. And working with them has been invaluable for our officers to get the better education on how to treat people even better. So thank you very much, Stacy and your crew, for that. It's been very helpful. We're very grateful for our co-responder program, which helps us follow up with our clients. Our co-responders work real hard to ensure those in crises get the resources and services they need to stay out of the criminal justice system. Over the last 2 years, we've seen incredible results with the crisis unit. Adding the co-responder has made the impact all more powerful. Next, we want to talk a little bit about EPD's crisis negotiation team and also our critical incident stress management, or CISM team. It's not only a priority to assist our Erie residents with mental health services, it's also a priority of Mayor Schember and Chief Zazarni to assist our own brothers and sisters in blue who might at some point in their career need some mental health assistance. Here to discuss this is Sergeant Tom Cavato. Tom?
Hello, my name is Sergeant Tom Cavato from the City of Erie Police Department. I'm the coordinator for the Erie Police CISM team and also our peer program, and the commander of our crisis negotiation team. Mental health wellness is extremely important to Erie Police Department and its officers. I want to go over a few stats. The national average is that a police officer will experience 188 critical incidents during their career versus 1 to 2 critical incidents for the regular person. And along with that, with mental health, police officers are likely to die from suicide than in the line of duty death. So in the line of duty, death and suicide are almost the same. So a lot of the critical incidents that aren't dealt with play a big part in that. So that's our goal, is to kind of derail that before that happens. Any situation faced by an officer in the course of their duty that causes them to experience unusually strong negative emotion reactions, which have a potential to interfere with their ability to function in a well-adjusted and productive manner, which is pretty much a critical incident, the description of that. We deal with a lot of different critical incidents, and so we do see a lot out there. As police officers, we are trained to handle critical incidents, but officers may, again, experience reactions to the incident. It could be a variety of things: sadness, anger, just disbelief. So we tell officers that these are normal reactions to an abnormal situation. Keeping in mind with the stats and critical incidents, the Erie Police Department has started 2 programs to assist officers. First, the Erie Police CISM team, Critical Incident Stress Management, is a team of officers that are specially trained to meet with officers immediately after a critical incident, to go over the incident and different reactions that they may encounter as a result of their experience. Our goal is to meet with officers as soon as possible, right after the critical incident, so the effects of the incident do not set in. The CISM team points out reactions they may be having right now or may encounter in the future. Our team is available to officers 24/7, so we can get a call 3 in the morning and we're coming out. If they have any questions or they just want to talk about stuff, again, we're also there for them also. We have assisted other police agencies with their critical incidents, as well as other entities in the community that have involved in critical incidents. We'll come out and assist their people when needed. Secondly, another factor in supporting our officers is we'll be starting the Erie Police Blue Assist program, which is a peer program. We'll be soon doing that. The program is a group of active and retired officers that have been trained through the National Fraternal Order of Police Power and Peers program. We are trained specifically to assist active and retired officers with problems from within or outside the job that they may be experiencing. We just trained our officers in this probably about 3 weeks ago, and with the National Fraternal Police program, we were the second department in the country to start this for our officers through this new program. Both programs that we have been developed with the help of the Pennsylvania State Police Member Assistance Program and the National FOP and other police agencies, ICISF, as well as other local mental health professionals, which have been a huge help. Our team regularly receives updated training so we can provide the best service possible to our officers. Both teams can give specifically vetted professionals resources to assist officers in different problems that they may be experiencing. Our next priority will be setting up a responsive police wellness program for active officers, also retired officers and their families. In the terms of crisis negotiation team, I wanted to thank Representative Merski and Harkins for obtaining a grant for us to purchase a newer, larger crisis communication vehicle. We've also had grants in the past, so in the last few years we have really advanced our crisis negotiation team. When we do get the vehicle, it will serve as a negotiation operations center with desks, monitors, communication equipment used to manage critical incidents. Adequately also store our negotiation equipment, and it'll be centralized in one place for easy accessibility. It also serves as a private, safe space for negotiators to counsel in crisis while going through de-escalation situations. This piece of equipment is going to be invaluable. I want to thank District Attorney Beth Hers, who is also providing additional funding for the team. And thank you. I now turn this back over to Lieutenant Russo.
If we can call up Representative Merski. Do you have anybody from your team here?
Yes.
We'll have them come up. Come on up, Mark. I'd like to thank Representative Merski and Harkins and their staffs for their hard work in getting us funding to replace our 30-year-old crisis negotiation vehicle. As Sergeant Cavato explained, these funds will provide us an updated vehicle for a negotiation operations centers, give us increased rapid response capabilities to de-escalate situations, and provide us a centralized area to hold our equipment. I'd also like to thank Mayor Schember and Chief of Staff Renee Lamus for their continued support in revamping and updating the crisis negotiation team with grants and funding to provide new equipment and training for our team. I'd like to now turn it over to Mayor Schember, please.
Thank you very much, Representative Merski, and also to Harkins, for all of your assistance and support in helping Erie to secure state funding for important programs and initiatives. Representative Merski, we are especially thankful to you and State Representative Harkins for your help in obtaining this grant for the crisis negotiation team and for your presence today to celebrate this grant award. I also want to thank Lieutenant Russo, Sergeant Bellotti, Sergeant Cavato, and Stacy Butner, not only for participating in today's press conference, but for your dedication and compassion and services to those in crisis. Really appreciate that as well. Your commitment to collaboration has expanded worthwhile services to those in crisis, and I'm impressed with the results to date. Most notably, thanks to you all for this work is being recognized nationally as the best practice. Thank you very much. Finally, I won't go. Round of applause. Yes, thank you. And finally, I want to recognize Chief Dan Spizzarni, whose vision for the Erie Police Department has been a guiding light for the work that we have accomplished over the last 7+ years. Chief, I admire and respect your commitment, your integrity, your thoughtful approach, and your building up of the Erie Police Department. Thank you very much for that. Over these last 7+ years, we have accomplished so much, from implementing body-worn cameras, shot spotter, license plate readers, virtual reality training, and real-time crime center to obtaining state-of-the-art vehicles, growing and expanding our community policing initiatives, focusing on mental health and well-being of our officers, and reinstating 3 things: the crisis car, the juvenile unit, and the K-9 unit. These initiatives and many more are making a significant difference in reducing crime and protecting and serving Erie residents much better. It has been my pleasure and my honor to work alongside you and your command staff to do this important work. Thank you very much for your service. You want to present this?
Yeah. So on behalf of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, sorry. Okay. We don't normally do press conferences at the state level like this. On behalf of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and Representative Harkins and myself, who are both members of the Law Enforcement Caucus, we have consistently supported law enforcement, not just here in the city of Erie, but across Erie County and across the Commonwealth. We want to present this check for $127,000 to the city of Erie for the crisis unit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And that concludes this week's press conference. Please continue to follow us on social media for the latest updates on everything happening here in the city. Everyone who spoke is now available for interviews also, so don't run away. And we're going to take a picture of everyone first, but thanks for being here or watching.